Women who say on dating apps that they don't want children, be careful. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and click the link below to check out my new podcast. So I used to advertise that I don't want children. Not now, not ever. I'm 30 looking to date people around my age. You'd think people in their 30s would know what they want. Turns out it's not always the case. Recently I started removing every hint that I don't want children from my profile. And my first question to my matches is, how many kids do you want in the future? A number of people who say 1, 2, or more, and then when I say I want 0, simply pretend that they said that, but they actually don't want kids or that they're flexible and we can negotiate. It's unbelievable. Women, if you're looking for someone who is truly child-free, don't say that you are. Let them reveal their true intentions and proceed with caution with those who don't answer or don't know what they want. Another thing is that when you say you don't want children and they contact you with pictures of their child, I'm just shocked. Like, what the hell are you thinking? Apparently the logic is that my deep frozen child-free heart will melt when I see their specific child. And no, I don't know if this works for anyone or who inspired them to do it. You will change your mind when it's your kid. No, because that kid will not exist. Thank you very much. Also, if there's anything worse than having my own kid, it's having someone else's kids in my vicinity. I think it's so weird that they would do that because then it just proves that they're trying to compensate for something. Like, how do you go out of your way to show someone a picture of your kid, which should be private information, by the way? Why go out of your way to do that when they specifically said that they don't want any kids? I honestly think this is a sign of really bad parenting. If you're a good parent, obviously, number one, don't send out your private information, your private kids' information, out to random strangers you meet on a dating app. And number two, don't try to convince people who said that they literally do not want kids ever, ever, ever to love your specific child. It doesn't really matter that you think your child is special. Why do that if you're a good parent? Just move on. Find someone else who will accept you as a parent and accept your child. Don't choose us, please. We really don't want you to. True, totally unrelated, but people don't read anything. Worked in retail and it's astounding how few people will read and actually use their brains. I would always trick them into questions and letting them answer it, aka warm their brains up before you can get a proper human response. Love this technique. Yeah, even when I had, just so you know, I don't like kids, so if you want kids, swipe left in my profile in all caps. I had at least one guy swipe right on me who clearly said in his profile that he wants or has kids. I had guys message me things like, I know you don't want kids and I do, but want to be my intimacy buddy in the meantime? No, being child-free doesn't mean that I enjoy hookups. What the F? I was specifically looking for a real connection that would lead to a lifelong partnership, and I was willing to wait until I found it. They act like being child-free as a woman means you're also non-committal or more promiscuous. It's really wild out there. Women who want kids are stable and mature, while child-free women are somehow floozies with loose morals. There are a significant amount of men who equate women who don't want children to sex workers because of the sheer principle that most child-free women have birth control locked down or ready to abort if necessary and approach intimacy like many men, as something not connected to procreation. We might as well be witches with the way men seem to demonize child-free women, while at the same time trying to desperately just use us for intimacy. So you get these boys thinking we're easy to enthrall. So I just wanted to add something about this conversation that was kind of bothering me. You can be very intimately active, and as long as you're safe, and as long as both parties know exactly what's going on and what they're getting into, what the relationship is, it's totally fine. It's not a bad thing. If you don't want to, that's also fine. It's not a bad thing. Some people just don't like romance, and that's okay. I personally am not a fan of romance. I'm aromantic, so I don't prefer it, but I'm not attracted to men at all, so it does make my life 1,000 times easier. And so I'm really grateful for the aliens up above for making me a lesbian. Thank you, aliens. It happens with both genders. Met someone on Badoo who didn't specify her want for children. We talked for a bit, met up a few times, and eventually I brought up the topic. She was absolutely disgusted. How can you not want kids? You must have them. So you want friends with benefits or one-night stands? You're so immature, not even thinking about your future. She instantly broke all contact and went her own way. I respect that she wants kids, but there's no reason to say what she said. It's because of what I want in my future that I made this choice, not because I don't want a stable and long-term relationship. Those same types of people can't believe I don't intend to cheat or hurt them as soon as I get the chance. There's probably, often for sure, a lot of insecurities they deal with. A baby locks you down and gives them reassurance that you are more likely to stay with them. False security, of course, given the amount of single parents around, but in their mind, it's a safeguard. Keep in mind, everyone, there is definitely other people who understand the choice. A guy I dated totally vibed with it and was glad to find someone like-minded. Didn't work out for other reasons, but it goes to show. Don't always expect the worst in people. I have a question. If you know the answer in the comments, are friends with benefits actually friends? Because that doesn't really sound like, it just doesn't sound like the name. The phrase seems to be used by men a lot in like a negative way, implying something derogatory, as if a woman doesn't want to settle down or if they like intimacy without commitment, then that cheapens her somehow. Oh, but not them. Also, with the way guys treat women, usually in general, especially if they're not interested in marrying them one day, it's like so abhorrent. Like, how do you even treat a person like that? Your post reflects exact thoughts I had on potential date the other day. They were seemingly great on OkCupid, except for the fact that they wrote, might want kids. I thought about pursuing them, but then I saw that they wrote in another area of their profile that they would ideally have 1 or 2 kids, when there was an option to answer none. I didn't want to waste my time, so I skipped him. You are absolutely right. A true Childfree person will declare that themselves. You need to hear them say it genuinely, so that you can be sure they aren't manipulating you to get what they want. Yup, people don't read anything at all. You have to pull them out of their sleepy brain to actually get a genuine response. I feel like a babysitter most of the time, and now I'm a young adult with the no BS mentality of a 6-year-old man who has dealt with humanity's BS for 100+ years. Even though they see the all caps and skim over it, you really need to get active and trick their brain into thinking mode. No matter what I did, even yelled out every 5 minutes my register was cards only, no cash, people still waved their money at me like I now had to deal with their antics. Nope, I'll print the ticket and direct you to the back of a cash line. Right. Astounding. Where's your bathroom? Me points to the back. But I'm really thinking, under that giant sign in front of you that says bathroom, Jesus freaking Christ. I used to tell my coworkers that it seems as if the minute they walk in the door, they become illiterate. There are times where I wondered how people found their way home at night. They just seem so out of it. I go in a store and rather not be bothered by anyone. I go in, look around and get my bearings, read signs and see where stuff is. If after all that I can't find it, I'll ask someone. I agree with you. I'm not single, but when I was single, I couldn't stand men. I'm a straight woman who are wishy-washy and didn't know what they want. Flexibility is if you could do a 3 p.m. or 6 p.m. date. Not if you could just have children because I don't want any despite he'd want 1 or 2 in the future. I want a man who thinks about how he wants his future to be, who is firm with his decisions and will not accept any less than a partner who is actually compatible with what he wants. I'm so lucky to have met my partner because when I asked him if he wanted children, he said in a gentle, nice way to the tune of a no. And not some, if you want one, I'll have one. He didn't want to offend, but his intentions are clear. He got a vasectomy a year later. I asked my current partner about it on our 3rd date. People have told me that I was bold and early, but in the same sense that others want to settle down and find someone to have children with, I want to settle down and find someone to not have children with. Thankfully, we're on the same page. It's interesting how some would say it was bold or too early. Children are definitely something you want to be on the same page about, so asking in the 3rd date is great. For me, I'm a before the first date person or on the first date. I don't want to waste my time at all. I've been burned by a past relationship because he straight up lied to my face. We had an early talk and both agreed we don't want kids. 2 years in, just a few months before I would graduate from university and getting excited to start my career, he tells me he wants to have kids and then also said, I just figured you would change your mind eventually, but now you're about to start your career. I don't want to wait any longer. Years later, I'm in a new relationship with a man who also said he's not interested in kids, and I'm still paranoid he's going to change his mind on me too. I get extra anxious watching him with his nephew and how much fun he seems to have. I know it doesn't necessarily mean he wants his own kids, but still. It feels like I was cheated on, and now I'm worried my future relationships will do the same.